Welcome to Swoon Worthy, the podcast that covers all things period drama. I'm your host, Carly, the voice behind Period Drama Style and Swoon Worthy Podcast on Instagram. In today's episode, we are going to do a deep dive on the 10-part BritBox miniseries that has captivated historical drama and Jane Austen fans this year. This miniseries is based on Janice Hadlow's 2020 novel, a reimagined extension of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, that follows the middle Bennet sister, Mary. She's a character so many readers have found relatable and always wanted more of, and this book finally gives her that depth. I just finished reading it, so I'm excited to compare Hadlow's version of Mary with the choices they made in the on-screen adaptation. I also wanted to mention that this past June, the week after the finale of The Other Bennet Sister was released on BritBox, my sister Kayla and our friend Anna, we all did a bonus episode of Swoon Worthy with our immediate reactions to the series, as well as the upcoming Sense and Sensibility movie trailer that dropped that same week. That was a big week for Austen fans, and you can find that episode wherever you listen to podcasts. So today we're going to continue our conversation on The Other Bennet Sister. We can't help going through the miniseries in even more detail. I'm here with my friends, Sunny and Callie. You may recognize Sunny from the past two seasons of the podcast. We've covered so many great ones together. And Callie, you joined us last season to share a wonderful take on War and Peace. So welcome both of you. Thank you for joining.
Thank
Thanks for having
you.
me.
I wanted to start out by asking both of my friends and co-hosts here, is there a Bennet sister or a Pride and Prejudice character that you find you relate to? Sunny, I'm going to start with you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I really relate to all five of them, like all five of the
Ooh,
sisters.
okay.
I would say when I was younger, like a teenager, the age of the girls in the book, I would say I probably related the most to Lizzie, just because I love to read. I was generally kind of suspicious of men. Uh, but I think as I get older, I relate more to Jane just because she's
Ooh,
the eldest sister, I'm the eldest sister, and I feel like we both kind of have that tendency to like when we're with our families be like, okay, everyone be nice to each other, like act normal, just kind of I like I really relate to her in that way. But I also really relate to Kitty and Lydia. Like, I was definitely super boy crazy when I was their age, when I
yeah,
was like
yeah,
15, 16.
For
So,
sure.
I feel like they get thrown under the bus a lot, but so relatable. Come on. But after watching The Other Bennet Sister, oh my gosh, I really, really relate to Mary, especially this version of Mary.
yes,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, just like how deeply introverted she is, like her like weird little hyperfixations, her like tendency to be like kind of a know-it-all and then like immediately realize like, oh, maybe like I should stop talking.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Oh, and also she wears glasses, and I was the first kid in my class to wear glasses, so I
Aw.
really related to the moment where everyone was like, "Oh my God, you're wearing glasses."
Oh
So
my
yeah.
gosh. That scene where they're all at the table and noticing Mary in spectacles for the first time, and they all have an opinion. That, I believe, was in the original trailer or one of the first clips released for The Other Bennet Sister. I think right off the bat, you knew Mary's going to be relatable in some way. But yeah, you make a good point. I mean, you can relate to all of the Bennet sisters and not, there might not just be one in particular. Callie, what about you? Is there a Bennet sister that calls your name?
I had to think really hard about it actually, because there wasn't really one that like definitely stood out to me as like, oh, that's my character. But a lot like Sunny, I connect at this point in my life with Jane. I'm also an eldest sister. And so I feel, you know, more responsible by nature. I also, like Jane, tend to keep my emotions more reserved and my
Mm.
opinions more reserved too. So I kind of hold my cards a little close. It doesn't mean I don't feel strongly, which we find out about Jane
Sure.
later, right? But you can't tell most of the time. And I think too, I just am pretty friendly and not a very complicated person. I'm not as feisty as Lizzie. I'm not as spirited as Lydia or bookish as Mary. I'm pretty, just sweet,
Oh,
just happy to be here.
hey, Jane is so lovable. So the fact that both of
Love
you,
Jane.
yeah, how can you not?
Yeah.
What
That's
about you, Carly?
Yeah, I was about to say.
gosh. It's funny because as you said, Callie, I struggle to kind of find one that I feel is my character. I I don't know, because I feel like if you were to combine Jane and Lizzie a little bit, because they do kind of act as the elder sister, like they each kind of play that role at certain times. Like I almost feel like maybe a combo of them. But then Mary is so relatable in this that I almost want to just give that all up and say, I am a Mary, especially when she goes to London, because she really comes out of her shell then. And yet she is hesitant at times or self-conscious. And, we all relate to that. We've all had moments where, like you said, Sunny, you say something and maybe it's a little know-it-all, and you're like, I probably shouldn't have said that. That makes me sound like a nerd. Or I think my favorite thing is when she's trying to be really cute and blow out the candle, but it takes a couple tries and then she just walks over and stubs her toe. I'm like, that's clumsy me for sure. And I try to like be the main, have that main character energy and like blow out a candle really pretty, like Keira Knightley in Pride and Prejudice 2005, but then it just doesn't work. So, yeah, yeah,
I love that moment. That was so funny.
I do too.
Super cute.
Okay, so before we jump into the actual plot and storyline, I do like to talk about the cast up front because this is such a great period drama cast. I feel like no one has iPhone face, which is such a wonderful thing to have nowadays in a period drama. And Ella Brucchieri, the actress that they cast as Mary Bennet, could not have been more perfect. I mean, no one else could have done it. I like some of the other, Pride and Prejudice versions of Mary, but to have her be the main character, you really needed someone so strong and so relatable. Anything you want to say about Ella and her performance?
I thought she was pitch perfect. Like she really made the series for me. Yeah, just so lovable. Like I love her little like nose scrunches and she's so deadpan with all of her delivery. Yeah, I loved her. I'm really excited to see what she does next.
Did you spot Ella Brucchieri in the new Wicker movie trailer, the movie that's coming out in October with Olivia Colman?
Yes, I screamed. I was so excited to see her.
Yeah. I think that her humor is very well suited for this movie.
Oh, totally. Like the deadpan. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think she's just like perfect for this. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see her in this one.
Yeah. I love one of her lines. She's like, I'd climb that. Callie, what do you think about Ella's performance?
Oh, she was fantastic. She's so likable.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of this awkwardness to her, but it's not cringy, right? It's like a sweet awkwardness
Hmm.
and one that's very endearing. And you already are like, oh, you're underrated.
Yes.
Just she played that underrated quality so well, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's a good word for it. We all know her value and her worth. Like, and especially when you're going through the book here, it's almost harder because they show just how ignored she is and isolated she is even more in the book. I'm glad they kind of didn't go too dark and depressing in the miniseries. I mean, we know it for sure. I really love how they structured the miniseries around her character. Let's talk about before we get to the men. We want to talk about the men, but let's talk a bit about the mother figures in her life because we have Mrs. Bennet, played by Ruth Jones, and then we have Mary's aunt, Mrs. Gardiner, played by Indira Varma. And you couldn't have two opposite characters as far as like who Mary could look up to as a mother. I mean, I don't really like this version of Miss Bennet. Callie, what did you think of Ruth Jones? I mean, I know it's not the actor's choice, it's the characterization that they chose to portray in this, and it's Mary's point of view, but like, could you have sympathy for Mrs. Bennet in this version?
Oh, that's a tough question about having sympathy for her. I can't say like yes or no, but I had less sympathy for
Okay.
her than I had in the other versions. I think in the other versions, her silliness comes through a little more. It's hard to take her very seriously
Right.
in other versions. And this one, I have to say, I just found her insufferable.
Yeah.
I was just like, why can't you just be supportive of your daughter?
I
I
know.
don't know. So that one really bummed me out. I
Yeah.
may have been looking at it from the lens of a new mom, being like, just support your kid, But but then it's from Mary's point of view, right? Where Lizzie's gonna have a different relationship with her mother. And Lizzie kind of sees her mom as this silly person, I
Mm.
think, right?
Hmm.
Like there's not as much of a desire to um, be receiving approval from her mother as I think Mary is supposed to feel. And so I do get that that character is going to feel different and Mary's going to be looking to that character for different things. So while I don't think it was a bad choice, I didn't have as much sympathy.
That's a good way of putting it. Let's stay on the topic of Miss Bennet. Sunny, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I found this characterization very interesting. And Carly, like you said, my good friend Sophia read the novel as well, and she told me she couldn't stand Mrs. Bennet and the Bennet sisters because of how mean they were in the books.
Hmm.
And I have to agree. I mean, the sisters, barring Lydia, I didn't find them to be too different from the other characterizations of them I've seen. But Mrs. Bennet is so cruel in this version, and I think they tried to give her like a character arc, sort of redemption moment at the very end when
Yeah.
and we'll talk about
Yeah.
this, but she has a heart-to-heart conversation with Mary. But even then, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I can understand you went through some hard times, but do you have to be such a bitch? I don't know.
I
She's
know.
so mean. And like I feel like nothing excuses
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. It ended up feeling like a lot of excuses, not an apology.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just really love the Brenda Blethyn performance in the 2005 movie because she's silly, she's fussy, she's definitely that classic Mrs. Bennet that we know from Jane Austen's novel. But then there's that one scene that I always go back to where Lydia's leaving with Mr. Wickham. She's at the window, and Keira Knightley as Elizabeth comes up behind her and hugs her, and she's saying, "There's nothing so bad as parting with one's children. One seems so forlorn without them." And that Mrs. Bennet, I actually feel like my sister and I always say is kind of like my mother because she was always trying to get us a date in high school, but she's a very loving, sweet, compassionate mother, and I don't ever think she's coming from a bad place. Whereas this one, it's like, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Then we have, oh my gosh, Mrs. Gardiner, amazing, Indira Varma, who plays the Caroline Bingley inspired character in Bride and Prejudice 2004. And a, a handful of other screen and stage credits to her name. This actress, oh my gosh, so lovable. Oh, she's so great.
I feel like if it weren't for Mrs. Gardner, I would be so sad for Mary to never have a supportive motherly figure in her life. And Mrs. Gardner really steps in. I mean, she's totally the opposite of everything Mrs. Bennet's about. And she really goes out of her way to encourage Mary's independence and confidence. And she's never trying to change her. And I love that about their relationship because that seems like that's all that Mary's mother cares
Right.
about is changing her, making her someone she's not. And Mrs. Gardner's like, oh, I already like you the way you are. Like, I want more of that person. I hope you discover who this is. It was a
Yeah.
beautiful relationship to, especially on the screen.
Yes. Yes.
I'm always partial to like the cool aunt in every story.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Gardner is definitely the cool aunt in this story. But she's also like she's like the cool aunt, but she's also like the warm aunt. Like you
Hmm.
would go to her for everything, right? And yeah, I just loved Indira Varma's portrayal of her. She was so elegant and so natural and yeah, so warm. And yeah, I don't know, like I would like to be adopted by these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
in London. Take me, let me stay with you in
Yes,
London.
Yeah.
exactly.
Can I have a summer in London with you?
Yeah. When rereading Pride and Prejudice, I almost forgot how much of a role she plays in Jane and Elizabeth's upbringing. They go to London to stay with her. Of course, we know they go to the tour of the countryside with her, with Lizzie. But she's been there for all the sisters if they need her.
Yeah, and I reread the last chapter of Pride and Prejudice just because I wanted to refresh my memory of like what actually did happen to all the sisters, like, in the book. And I'm sure you guys noticed as well, the last paragraph of the novel is about the Gardiners and how much Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy like love having the Gardiners at Pemberley and how they feel like they owe them,
Yeah.
everything since they were the ones that kind of brought them back together. And so I feel like the other Bennet sister is kind of like a continuation of that sort of like love letter to the Gardiners. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was
Love
like a
that.
really cool like little connecting point.
I
Cool.
love that, Sunny. I totally agree.
So true. I love that. I didn't even think about that as like this is as much of Mary's story as it is Mrs. Gardner, who just, yeah, I love that. Okay. Let's talk about the boys. We have some potential suitors that come Mary's way within the time span of the original Pride and Prejudice story. So, of course, it's not mentioned in Austen's novel that she has a little dance or two with John Sparrow, the optician's son, and Mr. Collins, you know, part of our original P&P story.
I I love this actor, the actor who plays Mr. Sparrow, but personally, I didn't find that storyline completely believable because I just feel like the level of society that the Bennets um how do you say the level of society that they occupy in like England.
Hmm.
I feel like Mary would already kind of be aware of what is expected of her in terms of like who
Ah,
she should marry. I didn't find their like chemistry unbelievable or the fact that she liked him unbelievable.
gotcha.
I found it a little unbelievable that she was so surprised that her mother said this is not a suitable match. Because to me that was like kind of obvious. Yeah.
That's a very good point. And that I almost didn't find it believable that she wouldn't know from, it was her first time to hear it from Charlotte that standing up with a man more than twice is not acceptable at all unless you have an understanding with them. So I like that point that you just made, Sunny. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole like standing up thing, that felt very like um there's a term for it, like explaining the rules of the world dialogue to me.
Explanatory,
The
yeah.
Yeah, and
exposition.
Exposition.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, that's what I was
exactly.
thinking.
And so I guess maybe some people needed that. Like if you're not like the three of us, we're constantly watching Jane Austen related content all the time. Um, but what I was gonna say on the other hand is I really like that they explored a potential relationship between Mary and Mr. Collins because I cannot remember if it's ever alluded to in the book or not. So I don't know if it's like canon, but in the 2005 version, and Carly, I think I remember you talking
Yeah.
with Kayla about this maybe in your guys' original podcast episode, but there was a moment between Mary and Mr. Collins where Mary's like, she like sits up straight and listens to Mr. Collins anytime he enters the room. Like you could kind of tell there was something there on her side, and that
Hmm.
was obviously never explored. And I like that they went into that in this
Yeah.
adaptation. Yeah.
I did really like what they did with Mr. Collins, making him a bit of a more complex character. He was another one that in Pride and Prejudice, he felt very ridiculous. That was like the word that I would use for him the whole time. He felt ridiculous to me. And I think in some ways, it seemed like Mary found a bit of a kindred spirit with Mr. Collins. They loved to read. They both seemed to see themselves as intellectuals.
Yeah.
I think she did have more respect for him than anybody else in the Bennet
Yeah.
family, by far. And I did especially like the conversation that her and Mr. Collins end up having at the end of the series together, talking about his now married life with Charlotte. And it's interesting too, because she has a conversation with Mr. Sparrow as well at the end of the series.
Yeah.
It wrapped up a lot of things
It
really
did.
nicely in a way.
Yeah.
And it kind of it gave closure too of like, oh, like, see, now you see why you didn't end up with this person and why you didn't end up with this person. And like they maybe they would have been okay,
Right.
but would they have been really great for you? Probably not.
Yeah, we're lucky that she held out for her true love. But at the time, you're seeing these men pass her by, whether it was, I mean, most of the time it was her mother keeping that from happening. But yeah, no, they would have been potentially happy. And I'll just read, I took a little quote because when I read Pride and Prejudice this last time, having already watched the Other Bennet Sister, I was just zooming into whenever they mentioned Mary's name. And they literally say about Mr. Collins and Mary that Mary might have been prevailed on to accept him. She rated his abilities much higher than any of the others. There was a solidity in his reflections which often struck her, and though by no means so clever as herself, she thought that, if encouraged to read and improve himself by such an example as hers, he might become a very agreeable companion. So, exactly what we've been saying, like they could have been companions, but it wouldn't have been necessarily a love match.
I love that she was like, I can fix him. Like, I can teach him and he'll be better.
Yes.
He's not as smart as me, but if he reads a little more, he could be agreeable.
Yeah. Yes. And what's funny is, so now I'll just transition to the two suitors that we really get a lot of in most of this, the Other Bennet Sister series, and they're new characters. Mr. William Ryder, in the book, they don't really do this in the series. He even kind of says, "You can make me better. You can fix me," to Mary. That's one of his reasons for like, "Hey, we should be together. I know I'm going to improve by being with you," which I thought was really funny. So our two new characters for Mary, new suitors, if you will, we have Tom Hayward, and this is played by Donald Finn, and I'm trying to say his name correctly, Irish name, Irish actor, but wow, what a perfect Austen hero. And some of you may have seen him in The Young Sherlock, which also debuted this year on Prime Video, and he plays James Moriarty in the Sherlock Holmes universe. But we got to talk about this actor. And did you know that Donald Finn is also a singer and he was Orpheus in the West End production of Hadestown?
Holy crap, he's got pipes. Like, he can sing.
Yeah, he really can. So just, yeah, I think we're going to see more of this Irish actor in period films and on the stage.
I felt like he really embodied Mr. Hayward very, very well. No complaints whatsoever.
Yeah.
I love Tom for Mary. I have seen interviews with Donald Finn and the rest of the cast, and usually it's him, it's Ella, and Laurie Davidson. And okay, guys, I don't know if yeah, Carly, I don't know if you've seen interviews with them, but it's really
Yeah.
funny because I feel like Laurie, who plays Mr. Ryder, is like third wheeling the other two. I'm like dead serious. Like Ella
Yes.
and Donal are like cracking like inside jokes and they're like giggling together and like kiki-kiing. And then Lori's like off to the side, like grinning at them, like not really knowing what's going on. So their
Yeah.
chemistry is like palpable off screen as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ella and Donald are talking about like how they couldn't get through a scene without laughing or like they're so cute.
Poor Lori.
Oh my
I've got to
goodness.
watch interviews now. I'm sold.
Yeah.
They're really cute. There are a lot of them. I mean, I feel like that's like part of it now. Like if you do a
Yeah.
show, you have to go
Yeah.
through, you have to do like the 10 BuzzFeed interviews and stuff.
Right?
I just wanted to go back to your point about how in the book Mr. Ryder says to Mary, like, you could make me better. That's so funny that you said that because it's statistically proven that men who have a female partner in their lives, or like, I don't know, maybe just partners, they live better, higher
Really?
quality lives and live longer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 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 that's funny.
So Mr. Ryder knew. He was like, yeah, I need Mary in my life.
That's
Sorry.
interesting though, because I always felt like that was a big reason why Tom was a better fit for Mary, actually. So I I feel like Mr. Ryder being like, you could fix me and make me a better person. And yeah, great relationships, you do bring out the best in each other, of course, right? I don't know how much Mr. Ryder, though, really had to offer Mary that was
Mm,
going to be great for her. And doesn't that matter too?
Right.
And he didn't seem very concerned about him being great for her. He was only concerned to me that she
Mm.
was great for him, you know?
ooh.
And Tom, I felt like he was the kind of person where he didn't really seem to need fixing up. Like he was doing fine
Yeah.
and was more of a challenge intellectually to her, someone who was opening her up to poetry, things that,
Yes.
and more to her emotions, things that she had locked away, helping her to see other parts of life. Mr. Ryder wasn't really offering those things. So I
Mm.
think, like, in the long term, Mary may have gotten really kind of bored with Ryder over time, whereas
Ooh.
Tom would continue to challenge her over time and probably maintain her respect much, much longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period.
Love that. So, one of our favorite topics on Swoon Worthy, the podcast, is costuming in period dramas. Shout out to the costume and wardrobe department for the Other Bennet Sister, led by costume designer Sean Jenkins. I'm not as familiar with their previous work, but I think they did an excellent job with this series. We see a lot of transformation of Mary's character through her costumes. Worth noting that I did a collaborative post with one of my favorite Instagram accounts, Recycled Movie Costumes, highlighting the fact that this miniseries reused period costumes from other productions, such as the 1995 Pride and Prejudice, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, many of the Emma adaptations, and the Sanditon series. Gave them some extra flair, some extra lace or embellishments. And that is always really cool to see and to spot. So look for that post on Period Drama Style. That being said, there were plenty of original costumes, and I loved spotting some of the color themes for each character. Here's what I saw for the Bennets from the start of episode one. We see Jane in soft pinks, Lizzie in blues, Mary in beige and neutrals to start because, we of course get to see her go shopping in London and she chooses more vibrant colors. I'm sure we'll talk about that soon. Kitty in purple, Lydia in yellow. And I wanted to mention that the actress who played Lydia was also Lydia Bennet in this Hallmark movie called An American in Austin. She played this character twice. So that is just a fun fact. And lastly, we have Mrs. Bennet, the mother of the Bennet sisters, in orange, which is often a color given to antagonists in period dramas. So that is quite fitting.
Okay, so I totally noticed all of those characters and all those colors you just mentioned. And I actually have to say, I thought they did a pretty good job of avoiding like the cliche of having each sister like dominate a particular color. Like I thought there was quite a lot of mixing actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like we saw Lizzie in blue, but we also saw her in purple and green. And Lydia and Mary wore like the same kind of shade of butter yellow a couple times, and Mrs. Bennet wore hot pink, like the same color as Jane wore at one point. And I actually really liked that. Like, I think I personally I really love it when characters like have like a very distinct color story, but I like that they kind of didn't this time.
It's not as overt as Bridgerton, maybe.
Yes,
Is that what you're
exactly.
thinking?
100%. It's definitely not as overt as Bridgerton. And I thought it really kind of I love that it was like a variation on a theme. Like anytime we saw all the sisters together, they were all kind of like not matchy matchy, but like they all kind of like looked like they came from like the same fabric store,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Um, and I think it really like helped highlight their individual like personality differences and stuff because we weren't so like, focused on the colors, or at least I wasn't.
Okay.
Um,
No, I like
yeah.
that.
All of the other sisters and Mrs. Bennet were in a completely different color story than Mary, right? But they were experiencing a way different, more vibrant life
Yeah.
than Mary was in that home, right? So I felt like even the clothes were signaling like this is the tone that this person is experiencing in this season of their life. And it it even ostracized Mary to your eye by what she was wearing. It isolated her from the other family members. Like I'm thinking about that scene where they're walking to Meryton and she's got two sisters. She's got Jane and Elizabeth on one side, and she's got Kitty and Lydia on the other, and she's in the middle. And I thought it perfectly summed up. I read a quote somewhere, someone saying like Mary exists between two pairs of sisters.
Yeah.
She's like the perfect middle
Whoa.
child.
Yeah. Yeah.
And automatically, that role for Mary, I think, is a lonesome one, just being that particular role in the family. Those other two groups had paired off, and there wasn't anyone left for Mary. And so I think the clothes in those scenes just did that much more to enhance um, that even to your eye, which class act for the costume designer to do that.
Whoa, Callie, I just got shivers. That's such a cool observation. I feel like that really enriches. I think that's going to really enrich my next viewing experience of
Oh,
the season.
Yeah.
Um,
thanks, Sunny.
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. And in the novel, I did think it was interesting because it said that Mary, Jane, and Elizabeth, the three of them, were best buds for the first 10 years of Mary's life. They were playing together. Yeah, Mary felt like they were always inclusive of her and they had a great thing going. And then in the miniseries, you remember in episode one, towards the beginning, she overhears her mother talking to perhaps her Aunt Phillips about how she's different, how she's just not going to be the marrying one. And 4 out of 5 of her kids being beautiful is, what she's going to have to live with. That was Mrs. Bennet's words. And Mary's overhearing this. In the book, that happens when she's 10, which is
Oh
just
my God.
awful. And so,
Terrible.
isn't that horrible? And so from then on, she pulls away from Jane and Elizabeth because she doesn't feel like she's their equal. And so it's heartbreaking. Like this is just
Oh
it is so
man.
sad in the novel.
The book was
And
very sad, actually,
it
especially
is.
until she gets to her time in London. It
Yeah,
was a bit of a hard read, I'm not going to
it
lie.
is. To your point, in the book, it says that Mary longs for invisibility and does all she can to disappear by choosing dresses in the most anonymous colors, made up in the most unexceptionable styles. Mrs. Hill urges her to consider brighter colors, but Mary refuses, saying that unremarkable grays and beiges are all that she deserves. It is honestly so, so sad, so hard to read. But on a lighter note, Mrs. Hill is so sweet. This is the character who is mentioned briefly in Jane Austen's original novel as the housekeeper of Longbourn. And in this mini series, she's played by Lucy Briars, who is Mary Bennet from the 1995 Pride and Prejudice.
Such a fun Easter egg.
Such a fun Easter egg. And I'm thankful that Mary had Mrs. Hill in her younger years. She definitely sees Mary's value and tries to encourage her and help her, whether it's just offering her comforting words or choosing a flattering dress for the ball. Absolutely loved her character. Okay, now on to Charlotte Lucas, a character who we see in green costuming, which may represent jealousy or spite, because in this miniseries, we see Charlotte Lucas in more of a villainous antagonist role than we've ever seen her before. And this characterization caught me off guard. We've seen her as the friend of Lizzie, but this to me felt very different. What do you think?
Yes, I'm so glad you brought this up in this portrayal of Charlotte Lucas. I found it fascinating. Obviously, because she's like a flavor of person we've never seen before with the character of Charlotte. Um, and at first I really didn't like her. I was like, why are you ruining this character for me? Because we love Charlotte. And I mean, I'm more familiar with the 2005 version than the 1995, but I loved Charlotte's character in that version. But I think it's such a good example of what the novel, which I haven't read, but the miniseries does, is like subvert our understanding and our expectations of all these characters because Pride and Prejudice is seen through Lizzie's eyes, we see Charlotte Lucas as Lizzie sees her, which is like a best friend, not competition, right? And so there is like a very specific dynamic there, like the quote unquote pretty best friend. But with Mary, she's experiencing maybe a different side to Charlotte. And I mean, I feel like this has happened a lot with me and my sister actually, where we'll meet the same person but have completely different experiences. And I feel like, or and like completely different opinions of the same person. And I'm like, whoa, did we meet the same person? But I think it's just like how we as individuals like experience, the same person, the same thing. But yeah, I just thought that was like so interesting from a storytelling perspective to see this side of Charlotte Lucas that we've never seen before.
Yeah, it threw me off a little bit because as you said, like we like Charlotte. That's our only impression of her and this took me aback. Also, she kind of to me looked like Emma Stone a little bit. I don't know. Something about
Yes,
her face mannerisms, I don't know.
totally. I see it.
Callie, what are your thoughts on Charlotte in this light?
In some ways, maybe they aren't so different. I was thinking about how when Charlotte is with Lizzie talking to her at the ball at Meriton, saying, well, Jane's never gonna marry Mr. Bingley if she doesn't push him on, like if she
Yeah,
doesn't make herself more, um, make her emotions more noticeable, he's not going to pursue her. She needs to play the game better.
yeah,
And I think in a way, like we just see Charlotte playing the game of the society that they live in really well in this new adaptation
yeah,
because, and we know Charlotte's older than
yeah.
even
27,
Lizzie.
27.
Yeah. And I mean, she doesn't have a lot of options, right? And so I think she's kind of stuck having to be manipulative in a way. I mean, I'm not excusing the, way she did it. I think she could have been kinder about it and maybe don't tell Mary like give her hopes and then dash
Right.
them. Um but I don't really blame Charlotte for like noticing something that could make her life better in a life that was so uh oppressive to women in that time. So I have a bit of compassion for Charlotte, I have to say.
No, I really like that take. That's really interesting. Um, I when while you were saying that, I couldn't help but remember that one moment. I think that like really ruined the character a little bit for me. Or maybe added to the depth of it. But when Mary at the Meryton Assembly, or no, at the Netherfield Ball, when Mary is like, "Oh, should I sing and play the piano? Should I not? Oh, I don't, like I don't know." And Charlotte clocks on to that like she knows it's going to be a disaster and she still goes, "No, no, no, you absolutely should." And she totally just throws her in with the sharks. And I was like, "Oh man, okay, she knows exactly what she's doing." Yeah.
Yeah,
But I will say that is not in the Other Bennet Sister novel. So they for the
Mm.
series, for the miniseries, they dialed her up with the manipulation.
they did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. They needed
Yeah.
an antagonist, kind of.
I guess so. I thought we had enough of it with Mrs. Bennet, but so I like both of your points and feel the same way. Like it kind of ruined my Charlotte, yeah. But as you said, Callie, I think that this author, Janice Hadlow, did read between the lines in Austen's Pride and Prejudice a bit more. Because then when I reread Pride and Prejudice, I was like, oh my gosh, at the Netherfield Ball, Charlotte tells Lizzie not to be a simpleton, and not to appear unpleasant in the eyes of Mr. Darcy, who is 10 times Mr. Wickham's consequence. So she's like thinking about where the classes are with the men more and figuring things out, saying without thinking highly either of men or matrimony, marriage had always been her object. So I think that she really did read between the lines of Austen's portrayal of Charlotte and amplify it. And then, that's in the book. And then the miniseries by BritBox, they were like, let's take it a step further.
Totally.
So yeah.
And she does have that line of like, women have two choices. They're either married or they're miserable. And that comes back later too,
Mhm.
where I think that's a pretty black and white take, right? But, back in that day, that really kind of was very much people's only option. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So that character is definitely fun to analyze. And another one is Miss Bingley, who we love to hate. I mean, this character is such a great one, written by Austen. We all know that mean girl, and she's humorously portrayed by Tanya Reynolds in The Other Bennet Sister. We've seen this actress before in a similar role, Mrs. Elton in Emma 2020. When it comes to costuming, we see her in a lot of deep red, burgundy, and it's such a regal and chic color. In the 1995 Pride and Prejudice, Anna Chancellor plays Caroline Bingley, and she's always wearing the striking orange throughout. And as I mentioned before, that's a color usually attributed to villains in period dramas. But in this instance, orange was more of Miss Bennet's color, and Caroline wears deep red. It's similar to the wardrobe of Haley Atwell in the 2007 Mansfield Park as Mary Crawford, so it can be seen as like a mean girl color for sure. This character, I don't think, was different from what we knew her as. Like, we expected her to be this way, and she checked off all the boxes. Would you agree, Callie?
with fantastic flair, loved it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was just gonna say, Carly, like you did, I feel like Mrs. Alton's kind of the same character.
Yeah.
Totally.
Um, I think the one interesting difference between this portrayal by Tanya Reynolds and Kelly Riley, I feel like Kelly Riley played her as the popular girl. Like as soon as she walked into the room in the 2005 version, you knew she was the popular girl, that like everybody thought she was beautiful, everybody wanted to be her. At least that's how I
Yeah.
kind of interpreted her character. But I feel like Tanya Reynolds kind of played her more like she's used to being undermined her entire life and she has to be mean and powerful to like be seen. Um, so I thought that was interesting. I thought that was
Yeah.
maybe like something that she, kind of brought something new to, which made
Yeah.
her more sympathetic, honestly.
Yeah. She's seen rejection. She's been on the shelf for a while. And I think she sees Mr. Ryder as the one for her. And then Mary's here, a roadblock to her happiness. We don't get a lot of Mary Bennet, Caroline Bingley interactions in Pride and Prejudice. However, in Austen's novel, worth mentioning that there is a line, Mary had heard herself mentioned to Miss Bingley as the most accomplished girl in the neighborhood. So in this mini series, we get to see that scene, that introduction scene, and Miss Bingley adds a snide comment after. That is a great accomplishment, to be sure. Study clearly trumps all other considerations in your mind. This is the first of many insults Caroline gives Mary.
I think her insecurity is just so loud. It's kind of
Mm,
hard
Mm,
for me to watch,
mm,
honestly.
okay.
She has every reason to not be insecure in that society. Like, she has the money, she has the name. Like, why be so insecure? And she just can't seem to, you know, find a guy. And I think maybe that, like, these men are picking up on that. She's not kind, she's let
Right.
maybe insecurity get the best of her. Like, she only feels good when other people are down, you know? Um, and you can be as beautiful or have as much money as you want, but having that sour personality, that doesn't, those other things don't take away from that.
Yeah.
I just felt sorry for her, I have
Oh,
to
I
say,
know.
sometimes, you know.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Well, and Aunt Gardner does say, she points out the insecurities and vulnerability to Mary, who may have never noticed that, because she said, like, I am, I'm never going to be as good as her. And the aunt is like, hold on now, this, you got it wrong, right? And I love that conversation, particularly because she played the Caroline Bingley in the Bollywood Bride and Prejudice. So it was almost like she was talking about herself. I was just, it was a fun little thing to see. But of course, Mrs. Gardner is gonna speak the truth to Mary, and like hopefully that just really helped. I think it did help her because I think in the subsequent scenes she's a little more standing her ground with Caroline Bingley.
Yeah, I love their little tit for tat when they were in the lakes and Caroline was like, "Can you pass the teapot?" And Mrs. Gardner was like, "It's empty."
Yes. Shut her down. That was so funny.
I love Mrs. Gardner being supportive, like, no, I
Oh
don't
my
like you.
gosh. So cute. All right, so before we wrap up our conversation that really focused on episodes 1 and 2 of The Other Bennet Sister, which is a reimagining, a different point of view of the story we know so well, Pride and Prejudice, we have to talk about kind of where it ends with episode 2, the death of our beloved Mr. Bennet, who is played by Richard E. Grant in this. Also, I believe he has, I mean, tons of other period dramas before, but I think he played Mr. Elliot in the Dakota Johnson Persuasion, the father figure, if I'm not mistaken,
Oh,
in that.
yes.
Yes, that,
That's why he felt so familiar. I was like, I've seen Richard E. Grant in this role before.
right?
Yeah, that's so funny. He was great in
Yes.
that too.
Yeah.
I did not make that connection, but you're right.
Yes, so he's been an Austen father before, but I feel like he's so different than the Mr. Bennet we know and love. We, again, see him from Lizzie's point of view in the classic traditional Pride and Prejudice sense. And Lizzie and Mr. Bennet have the best relationship. And in the book, The Other Bennet Sister, and in the series, Mary's envious of that. She wants that. She wants her father to see her for the intellectual that she's trying to be. And he just doesn't. Lizzie is just the favorite. And it's definitely even there are more examples of it in the novel. I feel like they didn't want to go too hard on that in the miniseries. So you still see it, but it's not as like they don't dedicate too many scenes to Mary being just like, come on, father, why don't you see me? I want your love. Why do you only love Lizzie? Because I almost just, it made me see Mr. Bennet in not as good of a light. And I want to love Mr. Bennet.
Yeah, see, okay, this is why I'm afraid to read the book. I think I'm gonna anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have to at this point. But yeah, I don't know. There is like you like feel so protective of all these characters you love so much and you feel like you know personally.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, I can see that being jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just it was hard in the book to see how much she longed for his affection and attention and approval, and her mom's too. It was both of them. But really, I think it was like the dad could have been such a companion to her. They had similar interests,
Yeah.
and he just was not able to see uh, Mary for who she really was and her great qualities. I feel like that was
Yeah.
a bummer. Well, I do have to give Mr. Bennet props though for making sure and standing up to Mrs. Bennet that Mary got her glasses,
Yes.
Mm,
because he is like steamrolled by Mrs. Bennet all the time. But he
Yeah.
did stick up for Mary to be like, no, I got her these glasses. She should be able to read. Like,
Yes.
that is important, you know? So I will give him his flowers for that.
That was an endearing scene for sure. Yeah. But that's the thing too. Mr. Bennet has a favorite child, Lizzie. Lydia, of all people, is Mrs. Bennet's favorite. The Gardners don't have favorites amongst their children. they love them all
Mm.
equally. And I think they love
Mm.
Mary as one of their own. And so that's why once we get past episodes 1 and 2 of this miniseries to episode 3, she's going to go to London and just be taken in by this family. It's almost like I was very surprised that we only got 2 episodes of the Pride and Prejudice retelling at first. And then I was like, no, I'm glad. We need to put that to bed. Like, let's move on with Mary's life, please. Did you feel that way?
Totally. I mean, I think Mary wanted to move on with her life too.
Yeah. Let's get to
Tom, we're
something.
coming.
We're coming. Mary gets to go to London and stay with her aunt and uncle after the, of course, sad passing of her father. I know, we all know she was so ready to get away from her mother. Oh my gosh. And Mrs. Gardner and Mr. Gardner, I love how she's even like she gets out of the carriage, she's going to the house at Grace Church Street, and like she can't even open the door or knock before they're there welcoming her. They're just like, "We're here, we're waiting for you. Come on in. Do you want some toasted cheese? And let me show you to your room." And she gets her own little room that's so pretty for her and her own space in the big city. Like this is this is epic for our Mary.
I wanted to ask you guys about that moment when Mrs. Gardner shows her room in the attic. I couldn't really read Mary during that moment because when the door opened and the room was there and it was so stinking cute, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like my dream room with like the gabled roof and stuff.
Yes.
But Mary kind of like looked a little, I don't know, maybe she was just like in shock, like new surroundings and stuff, but she like didn't really have a reaction to how cute it was. And I was like, oh, maybe like this isn't grand enough for her because she lived in this like
No.
really beautiful house.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. Like, how did you guys read that scene?
I thought it as kind of like in shock, like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet that they gave me this space. And I don't think, because remember, this is pre-poetry appreciation, Mary, her feelings are still just so deep inside of her. And she,
Mm,
and with the sisters too, she never spoke up as much about her feelings. When she did speak up with her sisters or give an opinion, it was always more of like, oh yes, Dr. Fordyce's sermons say blah blah blah. Like she never was like, oh my gosh, your dress is so cute. Like I don't think she could felt like she could say, this room is beautiful. Thank you.
mm.
Does that sound right? I don't know.
I took it the same way. It
Yeah.
just felt kind of overwhelming to her. And that the opening of the door where they're all like there to see her. I mean, what a far cry from the invisibility she experienced in her day-to-day life. So I'm sure everything was very different and overwhelming.
Yeah.
Um,
But you're right, Sunny. Like you almost did expect a little more from from someone, and maybe Miss Gardner, she knows her niece at this point, so she hopefully didn't see it as non-appreciation and more just like, okay, we're gonna get there with Mary. She's gonna start sharing her opinions a little more soon.
Yeah, I think it was just the eldest sister in me that was like, say thank you, like show your appreciation.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So true. It was cute.
I like your read on it though, guys, about
Yeah.
how like she's still so reserved. She doesn't know how to like express.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she goes on to her first governess gig. And what's interesting is in the book, she's not, in the Other Bennet Sister novel, that's not why she goes be to stay with the Gardiners. She's not being employed as a governess there. In fact, prior to this, she encountered Lady Catherine de Bourgh, who was like, "Oh, let me get you a governess job." And she was like, "No, no, no. I'm going to run away from that and go to stay with my aunt and uncle." So that isn't it, but she does offer to teach the Gardener's daughters piano lessons. So she is willing to help out there. But the governess thing was for the miniseries. And I thought it was so cute because it really gave us some humor with the kids, like, and a bit of her personality too. Like, I love it when her teaching is just so dry. And then, of course, little Rebecca vanishes, and the little George son says, "Oh, she's a magician." And Mary just goes, "Magic is nothing but illusion and trickery." And he's like, "Oh." But
I love her teaching them about like diseases as well. That made me laugh so hard.
Oh my gosh.
The little one talking about getting sick.
Oh my gosh.
And them like
I'm gonna
telling
do
their
my report.
parents over dinner and them being like, "Oh, okay."
So funny. So I think I really love that they that made that slight change from the book because it allowed for some humor and some getting to know Mary. And so we get to know Tom Hayward because he pops in. The kids love him, right? And they have this first little interaction where they're joking together. It's like, even though you wouldn't expect it from Mary, she's able to be very comfortable with Tom and joke around. And maybe it was just, lucky that the kids were there to kind of be that outlet for them meeting, but and joking. But the little mouse rabbit in the cupboard thing, that was just so cute. And then you see that they both have a head for facts. Like oh, that's a fallacy that mice like cheese. Oh, it's actually root grains and vegetables or root vegetables and grains. So
That
funny.
felt like a cute callback to Sense and Sensibility when they're when she's hiding in the library and there's like talking about like getting all of the places in the atlas mixed up
Yeah.
so that she would come out and be like, the source of the Nile is in Abyssinia. And then Edward Ferrars is
Yes.
like, oh, pleased to meet you. I'm Edward Ferrars. She's Margaret Dashwood.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I
It just felt
forgot.
so sweetly reminiscent of that to me.
That's such a great connection.
I love
Very cute.
that.
And
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
who has not fallen in love with a man because he's good with kids? I'm just gonna say.
I was just gonna say that's like the best first impression, is if like kids like you, you're solid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they can see through the bullshit.
They
Totally.
can. Great judges of character.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, and the fact that Mary got to meet Tom in her aunt and uncle's home, I think allowed her to be a little more comfortable. In the novel of the Other Bennet Sister, they still meet because he's a friend of the family, but it's actually at the dress shop, the haberdashery or whatnot. So that's a little slight difference. That's, you know, a couple scenes later when they have that and Mrs. Gardiner is just to me she's acting like a little fairy godmother here. My sister made fun of me for saying that in our previous podcast episode. She called me a Disney adult, but she is but Mrs. Gardiner is kind of like a fairy godmother with, just taking her under her wing and saying like you're beautiful the way you are, but let's give you some different clothes to make you feel comfortable and pick something that you really want, some colors that you want. It's just such a great scene. And Tom's there. He's given some funny color names out there. It's just cute. It's a cute,
Being a cutie.
yeah.
I love too when
And
she's like, your mom's not here.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, she's not. Forget about her.
so great. I think that the author, Janice Hadlow, did a good job of presenting this as not like a superficial thing about, you have to wear a certain type of clothing to fit in and whatever. And it's carried across through the show. But I did take down this quote, where in the book it says, Mrs. Gardner says, I know you've always been told a woman's worth can be measured only by her beauty. Okay, that's what Mrs. Bennet always told her daughter. But please believe me when I say there's a middle way between an obsession with one's appearance and an absolute denial of its importance. I do not consider myself a vain woman, but I admit it pleases me to be smartly turned out. And so she's getting this whole new way of looking at things. She's been inundated with her mother's beliefs about beauty and self-worth. And Mrs. Gardner's there to say, like, you can have a middle ground here. Like, it's not one extreme to the other. You don't have to put on bland, anonymous colors. And it's just so beautiful that she, in the miniseries, is like, what color pleases you? And even Tom says, choose the color that pleases you. Like, that is cool too.
I really connected with this scene because, well, first of all, I also love spring green, like that
Yes.
pea green, almost chartreusey green. That's like one
Yeah.
of my favorite colors.
Oh,
And when we first moved, bought our house and moved in, the first thing I wanted to do was paint our living room like a green, and I couldn't decide on a green, like maybe a more neutral green, like olive green or something else. And we settled the first, I say the first time because it's been repainted
Oh no.
since, but the first time we painted our living room, it was a paint color called spinach dip. It was so violently green.
Whoa.
It was like
Oh.
really, really saturated. But I don't know. It's just like I felt that excitement of Mary's where she was like, "Oh my gosh, I can choose. Like I have so much choice. Where do I go?" And we both went to like the most intense end of the spectrum we could possibly go with green.
Oh my gosh.
So I really loved that. It made me laugh out loud because it just reminded me of painting our living room.
That is so funny. I love that. That personal connection.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
also felt like a healthy makeover to me for her because if, I feel like a lot of times the trope is like, oh, like she finally gets noticed by a man when she makes herself over for the male gaze. And she
Mm,
makes herself over, but it's not for the male gaze. In this case, it's for herself. And then she starts being noticed for who she really is. And I just thought that was such a beautiful twist on the
Yeah.
makeover trope that I really
Yeah.
enjoyed.
I love that.
Yeah. They go about it a very healthy way in
Hmm.
both the book and the miniseries. So, like, let's say a young woman is watching this, like let's say a middle schooler is watching this miniseries, like, you wouldn't feel like they're getting a bad impression from it. It's a very positive one.
I would let my daughter watch this any day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And then we get some more Tom interactions playing Grace's. He catches her, they had the playtime of this game earlier and she was like, I'm not going to take part in it. Then he catches her trying to do it on her own. So cute. Later we learned that's when he first fell in love with her, but spoiler alert, but y'all all know that. And he takes off his jacket because he just got it fixed, right? And we have the rolling up of the sleeves. What is it, the forearm noticing moment, which is just so funny. And the second time I watched the other Bennett sister, I realized she mentioned someone's forearms before. So Mary likes forearms.
Nice, Mary.
Nice. Well, isn't that all they get to see back then anyway?
Yeah,
What else is there to like?
you know?
Mm.
Yeah, I think it was when she was talking with Charlotte or something. She's like, "Oh, so and so has tolerable forearms." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Tolerable forearms.
I'm dead. Okay, this reminds me of when I was in eighth grade, we did a field trip to Colonial Williamsburg.
Oh.
And I remember one of the like historical guides being like you know how like men wore stockings back then
Uh-huh.
and they like really formed to the calf? Like apparently like
Yes.
women were like really into like male calves. Like they like liked looking at them. But they
No.
were covered by stockings.
But they were
But
probably like fitted, right? So they're like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
super
yeah.
muscular.
Yeah.
you got to take what you can get back then. Like,
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Forearms is about like as racy as it gets.
oh my gosh. That's so funny. So that scene where she's like, he's taking off his jacket, rolling up the sleeves, and she's like kind of being awkward and like not wanting to look, but wanting to look. I love that. And Ella Bruckleri's yeah, like physical comedy throughout is just so spot on. It's laugh out loud funny. It's cute. Oh my gosh, love it. He opens her up to poetry. We've been kind of alluding to that, but let's talk about it because she calls poetry, first off, she calls it whimsy. She prefers fact to whimsy, history and geology. That's what she reads for pleasure. And he's just like, "Oh, okay, you're you're calling my poetry whimsy. I'm gonna change your mind."
I loved when Mr. Hayward was like, "Is there anything you like about poetry?" And she was like, "Well, some are mercifully short." That made me laugh out
Amazing.
loud.
Oh my gosh. So
I
funny.
just loved her delivery of it. It was just like so
Yeah.
perfect.
I love it too because she's just completely honest with him. Where I think in that time, like women were probably wanting to say what men wanted to hear. And he probably is finding it really refreshing that, and you can see him being kind of taken aback that he's just getting these blunt answers from her. Like, no, I don't like it. I've tried it. It's not for me.
That's so true. Yeah.
And that's why Mr. Ryder likes her too. So he's about to come into the picture,
Yeah.
and he likes how she just says what she wants. She's not trying to put on this like polished, flirtatious thing with him. I mean, I guess that's Mary's charm to both of these men, perhaps.
Yeah. Her authenticity, I feel like.
Yeah.
Of course, we are introduced to another character who becomes a friend, Anne Baxter, not in the novel. This was added for the miniseries, but this kind of poses a problem because, they hit it off as friends, and I'm glad that they didn't take this in a like a jealousy or like antagonist route. She is a true friend, but we do learn, oh gosh, she's had an understanding with Tom Hayward for the past 3 years. They're not officially engaged, but they're seeing each other, dating, so to speak, and they are hoping to be engaged when he's kind of found his place in his career. And that's a bummer. Like, of course, I think that might even be at the end of episode 3. And it's just like, oh no, because you already see how perfect Tom and Mary are for each other. This also, Kelly, you mentioned sort of the callback to Sense and Sensibility. This to me felt like Lucy Steele and Edward Ferrars because,
Absolutely.
you know, they like, yeah, they like formed an attachment too early. They're not really fully developed into their true selves yet, maybe. And luckily, I'm just glad they didn't go Lucy Steele route because she's annoying. And Anne Baxter, I like.
I thought maybe that Tom kind of knew in the back of his mind that Anne maybe wasn't the one for him because she keeps saying, like, well, he keeps working and working and working, and we never get married. He's so busy. And I want to. And it's like, Tom, I don't feel like you're like a wishy-washy guy, but you're kind of like, dragging your feet with this thing. What's going on? So that was kind of a little thing with me with Tom where I was like, hey, like don't be leading Anne Baxter on if you're not sure about marrying her now. Like I don't know if it's gonna get better. Like cut this girl loose. And I'm glad that Anne figured it out for herself and was like, oh, I met somebody else and I moved on. Not that, she just like waited around for him to like
Yeah.
change his mind. Glad Anne had her own things going because she was fantastic. Nothing not to like about her.
Yay. Did you catch her kind of like meeting eyes with the guy across the table once, and that's who she might have ended up with? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She got tired of waiting around.
But you know what? Like they could have taken her character and made it an enemy, made it like, or she did Tom wrong. They didn't do that, and I just think that was really healthy that they made her just like a friend that she's going to keep. Mary's going to keep that friend, and even in the end, she says, "Take care of Tom for me." So she must have known a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really glad they added her character because I think Mary needed like a girl best friend.
Yeah.
Like she didn't
Yeah.
have very many friends before Anne, really. Like her sisters, she couldn't really call them her friends. And, Mrs. Gardner is more of like a mother figure, more of a role model than like a true friend.
Hmm.
I love the scene when they were doing the face masks. I thought that was really funny. They're like
Yeah.
Oh,
putting
I forgot
like
about
goop
that.
on each other's faces.
And then the husband comes.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Gardner got like a couple of like funny moments. He didn't get a lot of screen time, but he was like, why is there stew on your face?" Tom is still hanging out with the Gardners, still spending time with Mary. He takes them to a poetry reciting, like a surprise poetry reciting in a hidden garden. So sweet, so wonderful. I want this to happen to me. Can anyone
Yeah.
create this like little outing for me, please? No, you go in a carriage and then you just you're in the city, but there's this little hidden garden with wisteria. I mean, Sunny, you must have loved this too with your flower background.
Okay, yes, but
Ooh,
the
what?
wisteria kind of looked AI. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a little bit. Like it didn't look, it was like floating like a little too perfectly, and I was like, oh.
Fair enough.
But yes, agree. Secret Garden, super cute, very dreamy. Would love for that to happen to me also.
That's funny. And I love her outfit right here. She's got the purple and green and like the checkered Spencer and the bonnet matches. This was one of my favorite outfits on her. I think she looks so great in purple and green. And then it matched the setting. And then Tom's standing there reciting his poem, which is also, there's a lot of the poetry reading in the book too. However, I'll just say that they he takes her to a bridge in the city to see the sunrise in the novel, but then this is the hidden garden, so they change it slightly, and moves her to tears with his poetry because it's poems. His argument is that poetry should be felt and listened to. You don't need to just be sitting there just like taking your extracts as Mary does, but to really enjoy this poem the way he's trying to make her enjoy it, you got to hear it spoken out loud in a beautiful setting. Wow, what a date.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, wow, what a date. Because I was like, this would be a date if the Gardiners weren't here. And it's almost like he invited them too, because he like was like, I want to take her on a date, but I don't want it to give her the wrong idea.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so we'll have chaperones, but like kind of not.
So true. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm curious when the Gardeners caught on to the fact that Tom liked Mary, because obviously, like, he's kind of known to be an engaged man. They can't really encourage it. Also, I think they like Anne. The Gardeners like Anne,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
but obviously in the later half of the season there's a little bit of encouragement there, and I'm just curious when they figured it out.
That's a good point.
I think I remember seeing in this series like a knowing glance from Mrs. Gardner, especially in that like garden scene with the poetry reading.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think that was the first knowing smile that I marked on her. There may have been
Yeah.
earlier ones. That's just the first one I remember.
No, that's so true. And then, she does shortly after because Mary's kind of like, okay, maybe she's kind of like I know I love this guy and I can't have him. So she's thinking of going back home to Mrs. Bennet, and she tells Miss Gardner like maybe I'm gonna cut out. But Mrs. Gardner gives her the bonnet analogy, right? The one that she reserved for herself or the one she liked was reserved for another. She found others she liked just as much, variety of choices. You may enjoy the first thing you see, but something might come along equally as exciting. So she has to know.
I forgot about that conversation, which I love the bonnet analogy, but you're right, that did happen. So she did know. She did know.
I think she must have.
But I love how like Mary just could not pick up on what she was putting down. That was so funny to me. Like, and Mrs. Gardner's trying so hard, and Mary's just like, what?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, she was like, okay, so you want blue is your color or something? Oh, that
You
was
need to
funny.
start wearing bonnets.
Yeah. She's thinking too literally. So we do get another ball scene, and I love a period drama where they give me more than one ball, so I'm very thankful for this. And I love how they took her simple white dress with the gold thread, which was described in the book pretty similarly from the Meryton Assembly. They brought it back out. It's the same dress that she wore before, but with added embellishment. So now it has like a green sash with pink flowers, a bit of purple. So they added some pops of color, and this really is like indicative of her journey. She's got more color in her life, but she's still the same Mary, and this is the same dress that we saw in episode 1. I think she looks so pretty here. She's still a little shy, and Anne is there as her wing woman, which is cute. She dances a minuet with Tom and looks quite nervous. But then she sees Mr. Ryder, who, okay, she did meet him before. I did skip over this. She met him at the Gardners with the punch bowl.
Guys, Laurie Davidson, what a cutie.
Yeah.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
I I'm very happy that Mary ended up with Tom, spoiler alert. But what a cutie. Like, I just love the way he looks at Mary like she's like the best thing on earth. Like, he's like, oh my God, you're so funny. You're so smart. You're the funniest, smartest girl in the room. Like, I just love the way he like looks at her and smiles and like compliments her in front of everybody and like cheers her on. I don't know. I just like, I really loved his energy.
No, he has total golden retriever energy to me.
Yes.
Um, and I think he was kind of a fun um opposite of Mary with his lightness. He was very like devil may care. Um, and Mary just is so not that. She's very grounded. She thinks a lot. He seems to not even think before he speaks. He's just like, and it's out.
Yeah.
So I think in that way, like they were both attractive to each other because she seems to enjoy his lightheartedness very
Mm-hmm.
much.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, she says, he taught me so much about Mr. Ryder. And I think that is so true. Like he brought out the silliest, goofiest side of her, which I think like we were all so happy to see.
And then here in this ball scene, they're dancing together. They've already been kind of like, sharing their opinions with each other. And she's very open, like, yeah, you as a man can throw off society's rules. I can't as a woman. She's very good about speaking her mind there. But then they go out on the dance floor and they're having fun, they're laughing. I love this scene because it really just shows that she can let loose and yeah, she learned some things through her friendship with him. As you said about him being a cutie, I loved him. Like I wasn't sure if other people disliked him because I read a comment online once where they were like, "Oh, I wish he jumped off a cliff or something." And I was like, "No, no, no. I like
Oh
him. I
my
don't."
gosh.
Yeah, I know. I really liked him as a an Austen suitor because we always get the Wickham and the Willoughby where they're just awful. Like they're manipulative or hiding their true selves. They're charming on the outside, but a rake and
A
not
cad.
a cad on the inside. He is well intentioned, but he often interrupts Mary and Tom when they're having a little one-on-one conversation, like or in a boat together or on admiring the views.
Okay, I have to agree, so annoying.
Yes.
So annoying. And you can tell it's super annoying to Tom, but he's like biting back his irritation because it would not be polite. But you can see that he's just like, not again. And he like it gets progressively worse and worse.
It's so silly. It sounds like we all are in agreement that we do like him. He's not right for Mary, and he's definitely privileged and enjoying those privileges, but he's not a bad guy.
No.
No. Yeah.
Cool.
And I like that you mentioned the difference between him and characters like Willoughby or Wickham, because I think sometimes that's kind of an easy out for why things don't work out for people. I like that this one, it really is more up to Mary of like, who is the best fit for me? And there are pretty decent choices. That
Ooh.
just felt like a really nice twist instead. Because the other guys just get removed and there's not much choice for the women.
Ah.
I love that point actually because in the beginning of the last episode, I think like Mary wakes up and she says like I've made my decision. Like she makes the choice. She doesn't wait for like the choice to happen to her.
Yeah.
And then obviously things get in the way before she and Tom get together, but she's actively trying to make it happen. She's actively looking for him, actively trying to, bring him back into the conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that about her.
Yeah. And she gets to actually sit with multiple options at some points,
Yeah.
almost. Like, I've got different things going on with one person and another person. What do I do?
Or just forget them both and be a governess.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's such a great point. So even after, they have this dinner experience. This is right before Mary goes to Pemberley because her mother's sick, right? And she encounters Miss Bingley. We learn that Miss Bingley is actively pursuing Mr. Ryder. And this is another one where you're like, okay, William Ryder, you're awesome because you are giving Mary attention, even with Miss Bingley there, like trying to insult her. We have to talk about Miss Bingley running off into the next room and switching those name cards around at the dinner table so that poor Mary is sitting next to Mr. Hurst and Earhorn Man. She makes the best of it though.
She does.
Okay, I have to say that's like my favorite scene when she's talking to Mr. Hurst and she's like, "Tell me about horses." And he like gears up and he goes, "Four legs, cannot vomit, beautiful creatures." That actually like I that had me dying. I don't know why, but that was so funny. And the cherry on top was Mary like grabbing her wine glass and like settling in to like listen to
Hmm.
Mr. Hurst talk about horses. I thought that was so good.
She
So
found the
good.
hyperfixation buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, such a great scene. Yeah, and he's like, "What are we gonna name the name of horse?" She's like, "Gerald." Okay, Gerald. We'll go with Gerald. So funny. And
Nice try, Caroline.
Yeah.
yes, that's the thing. Everyone else at the table can see they're having a good time, and that is the best way to have revenge, is like to just have a good time with what situation you're given, and oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She does have another embarrassing moment though, the breaking of the bell jar, and that got me like really upset at the end of that episode. Luckily, it's not a big deal, but we didn't know that at the end of that episode, right? Were you guys
No.
like stressing?
I just felt bad for Mary because she's obviously got like personal family stuff going on. She also is like feeling totally like attacked by Caroline because at that point she knows that for her to sing would be like a terrible thing to happen. So she knows what Caroline's doing. And then like she thinks she's gotten out of it, relief, wrong, really like hurt something that matters to the host potentially. And
Yeah.
she does care about Mr. Ryder as a person, like as a friend, and so I think yeah, that was really sad to see.
Yeah. And taking us to episode 6, Mary flies to her mother's bedside at Pemberley. We also don't know what's going to happen here. Maybe Miss Bennet is on her deathbed. Of course, she's not. She looks perfectly well. Her daughters are all attending to her. She has a new dog to, have boss the sisters around taking the dog out. I mean, wow. And then you're thinking like, okay, she broke that insect bell jar thing for nothing. And this is also, I find, very relatable. She's like very upset by that and analyzing those moments with Miss Bingley and her exit with the breaking of the decorative object. And that's got her down because she feels so strongly and seriously about it. Of course, we learned that, and Lizzie tells her no one's thinking about that. But it's how relatable is that to like just be internalizing something like that. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Sunny?
Yes, Liam and I
Absolutely.
call those shower thoughts where we're like, we're in the shower and like we can't stop thinking about that embarrassing cringe thing that just happened.
Yeah,
And just like, yeah, thinking about it over and over and over again and like being convinced that this person hates you because you like messed up or whatever.
right?
So relatable. Yeah.
You feel
Or a
for
thing that
her.
was so embarrassing, you're like, no one's ever going to forget that witnessed it, you know? But
Right.
people really probably will.
Yeah, and there are people who can shake it off, like Lizzie, perhaps. Let's talk about Lizzie and Mary because we do get some scenes that are not straight from Pride and Prejudice. So I do like how they gave us some scenes there, whether it's them playing the piano and being cute together, or later when Mr. Ryder does some sort of proposal, she's the one that goes to Mary to talk. Thoughts on Lizzie's portrayal in this? Poppy Gilbert, I believe is her name.
I mean, Carly, you know this. Callie, I'm sure you understand this as well. I love anything that has to do with sisters, like movies about sisters, books about sisters. I have a little sister and a little brother. And I loved that this show delved into that dynamic more because we kind of get it in Pride and Prejudice. And I feel like, again, like I said this, I think earlier about how every sibling kind of has a different relationship to their parents and like a different experience, growing up, different relationships to the same people. And I feel like this, it just shows it so well. And I love the moment, the conversation that Lizzie and Mary have in her room where Mary kind of like breaks down and she's like, no, like that is not how, like that is not my lived experience. That's
Yeah,
not how I remember things. And Lizzie's so shocked by it because she had no idea. I've had a very similar conversation with my little sister.
really.
And there were some scenes later on in the Pemberley, section of the show where you can see Lizzie finally clocking on to how Mary is treated by their mother, who's like, they have the same mother, but like completely different experiences with her. And like her apologizing to Mary and like finally understanding. And I loved the way Poppy Gilbert played that, like that kind of like the dawn of realization on her face. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That was like one of my favorite parts of the show, I think,
Oh,
was like
oh,
Lizzie and
yeah.
Mary coming together like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit like I think of them as Joe March and Beth March a little bit. Like
Yeah,
their energies, definitely still different, but one of them is so strong in ways that the other is more introverted. Yeah.
totally. Oh, I love that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So Mr. Ryder comes to Pemberley and is courting Mary, and those are some great funny scenes of the sisters, like they're playing the croquet and they're spying on her with the binoculars. I mean, these are comical scenes, funny scenes, and Lydia is just atrocious.
I love that they made Lydia like a tiny version of Mrs. Bennet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys like interpreted it that way, but they kind of like had the same posture. I think they were both wearing yellow at one point
Mhm.
at the same time, and they have the same like dark brown black hair. And they go one after another like barbs at Mary. And it was just like the exact same kind of performance. And I was like, oh, that's so clever. Like Mrs. Bennet's favorite daughter is turning into her.
Yeah.
I like too that she gets to be desirable in a man's eyes in front of her family.
Yes.
That is somebody
Yes.
that Mrs. Bennet is like, this man is interested in you. Oh my God. Because there's kind of like a justice is sweet to like,
Yes.
and then, I mean, obviously we'll get to later things, but it's just for me, there was some satisfaction in seeing her be wanted by someone in front of this family who's just like, she'll never be desirable to anyone.
Yeah, and he's so cute. So it's like they're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
And he also has money. Like he's like a person in standing that like Mrs. Bennet is like, this is far and away beyond even what I thought you could possibly da 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 da,
Hmm.
I love the moment when Lydia's like pouring the tea and she like can't stop pouring because like her mouth is open.
Yes. That was funny. There are a lot of great comedic moments in this show that's like they're kind of subtle. Another thing that I thought was interesting though, Mr. Ryder is related to Catherine de Bourgh. They're at Pemberley. Mr. Darcy has a headache and won't see them, but that was a little weird.
Wait, yeah, because does that make them cousins?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Darcy is the nephew of Catherine de Bourgh on the mom side. So basically, Lady Catherine de Bourgh is the sister of Darcy's mother, so Lady Anne. So they're sisters. The thought here is that Mr. Ryder is like a paternal nephew. So like
Mm.
Sir Louis de Bourgh's nephew.
Okay, so he's like the natural heir then, because he's on the paternal side. Is that the
Well,
thought?
it's mentioned in the book too, the other Bennet sister book, that Lady Catherine's daughter, it wasn't like an entail situation like it was with the Bennets, where Lady Anne de Bourgh the daughter was going to get her mother's inheritance.
Okay.
So
Oh,
she
thank
was the
God.
heir. Yeah. So she was the heir. But in the other Bennett sister, she ends up falling in love with her doctor because she's like the ill young woman. She falls in love with her doctor and they wait till she's of age to where they can elope essentially. And Lady Catherine is like, okay, well, I'm not giving my money to my daughter. I'm not giving it to Mr. Darcy because I'm still a little sour about that, slash, they have enough money. So she decides to make William Ryder her heir.
Wow, good for Anne.
Right?
We need to see that story play out. No.
Okay, but
For
that's
real.
that's really interesting context that I needed because I was wondering about that like plot hole where I was like, wait, so they're related? Question mark? Okay, good
Yeah.
to know.
It was a little strange. And so I thought that it goes into it a little more with the Janice Hadlow novel. And then, like, people online are like, I bet he's the paternal nephew, whereas Darcy's the maternal nephew. So,
I was a little bummed we didn't get to see Lady Catherine one more time because her character is really, especially Judi Dench. I mean, come on,
oh, wow.
what that would have been a fun reprise, but I mean, there probably wasn't time for that. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she is in the novel. Yeah. A little bit.
I feel like Catherine de Bourgh and Mr. Collins are like the most fun roles to play in Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Totally. And we're about to get to a little more Mr. Collins. Let's just touch on the fact that Mr. Ryder proposes a sort of proposal to Mary. Okay, let's live a bohemian lifestyle in Italy where we drink wine and read poetry all day and let people know that you can live without the constraints of marriage. How did you feel about this? Who among us would have just been like, okay, sure, let's go?
Now or then? Because
I
now, sure.
know. Yeah,
Then,
yeah.
not so much.
I know.
Okay,
I
that's the
know.
thing, right? Like, I feel like that was like another unbelievable moment for me where I was like, surely Mr. Ryder doesn't actually believe this is possible. Like, come on.
Yeah, I
And
know.
it
It does
felt
seem
like
weird.
so thoughtless on his part and almost to an offensive degree. Like,
Yes.
like it kind of was a throwback to like when you think Benedict is going to propose to
Yes.
Sophie and then he's like, my mistress. And she's like, you don't respect me.
Uh-huh.
You don't care that I live in a way that,
Yeah.
is good in this time. So in a way I was like, oh, writer. No.
It is fresh on our minds from Bridgerton. You're so right. Yeah.
It felt
Yeah, that's a great
reminiscent a little
parallel.
bit. It felt like a letdown for sure. And it felt
Yeah.
like he did not understand her by
Yeah.
making that
Yeah.
proposal to her.
Yeah.
Quote unquote proposal.
Yeah. It's not very Mary to do that. However, she kind of entertains it for a second because she doesn't think that someone is going to propose her because at this point she thinks Tom's taken.
Yeah.
And she does enjoy the company of Mr. Ryder, so she does think about it. Lizzie's like, no, 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 you can't do that. And Lizzie kind of says, you deserve better. So Lizzie's trying to like help her feel like she should be valued more. But then there is the part of me that's like, even back then, I'm thinking of like Lord Byron and Mary Shelley, like that whole literary sphere where they were very like, okay, let's just have affairs and like live bohemian lifestyles. So, Sunny, would you have gone to Italy like even back then or just like, no?
No. I like barely know this guy. I have no means of like, okay, if I was like independently wealthy, then
Hmm.
yes,
Thank you, Sunny.
sure.
Yes.
Like, right? Like if I was an
That's exactly
heiress,
what I was thinking.
yeah, like if I knew I would be okay, because like within the social confines of this time period is what I'm alluding to. But like, yeah, if I knew I could stand on my own 2 feet socially, financially, then okay, yeah, maybe. But no, that just sounds like a really dumb idea. And I'm glad that like she had that conversation with Lizzie because like when that happened when Mr. Ryder proposed that, I was like, this doesn't sound right. But like, am I just a prude or like am I like boring? And then for Lizzie to be like, no, that's very offensive. Like what you said, Callie, like borderline
Yeah.
offensive. I was like, okay, yeah, we're on the same page about this.
Because if
Okay.
he tires of her, she has nothing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like he's financing this entire thing. She has no money. So the moment that he decides that
Yeah.
he's done with her, she could literally be like penniless in Italy.
Yeah. It's a dangerous situation. It just
It
like doesn't
is. It
sound
is.
good.
Okay, I'm being devil's advocate, but what if
Yes, devil's advocate.
Okay.
Conflict.
Okay. So what if like Mrs. Gardner and Mr. Gardner were like, we love you, but we can't have you stay with us forever. And her only options were like
Mm.
live at Pemberley with the awful mother and Lydia, or be tossed around between relatives for all of my life. If she really thought those were her only options, like, I don't know. And she can teach on the side.
That is a great point,
It's a
actually.
good question.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily she knows she has a home with the Gardners, so I don't think, it ever got that desperate for her.
No, that's actually a great point. Yeah, if living with your cruel, cantankerous mother for the rest of your life is your only option, then
I'd
that
gamble
also
with
sounds,
Italy
yeah, that also sounds pretty dire.
Yeah. All right.
because you
Okay.
know you're going to be miserable with your mother. You don't know. Maybe Italy will work out.
Yeah.
True, true.
And you get to travel. Okay, so anyways, I thought that would be just fun to just entertain. Have to talk about Mr. Collins a little bit here because we get him back in the picture. A little more justice for Mary because I think he realizes he would have been happy with her and he should have chosen her. Do we feel that? Callie, you're nodding in agreement here.
I felt like they were at least kind of that conversation. They were both skirting around the what could have been.
Mm,
I don't know if maybe they were thought they'd be happier, but I think they both thought like maybe could have had something. We didn't, but you
yeah.
know,
Yeah, just that. It was like a wistful, bittersweet kind of what if moment that I thought was necessary. Yeah.
Yeah. And in the book, even before she goes to London, she visits Charlotte and Mr. Collins. Charlotte is more like a friend to her in the book, actually. And I liked Charlotte's character a little bit more in the book until this visit where she and Mr. Collins start to study in the library together. He like is going to teach her Greek or something. They're kind of like it's like a meeting of the minds. Charlotte gets straight up jealous and basically says like you're not welcome here anymore in Longbourn, so her old home. So that's like an interesting twist in the book that they only lightly touch on it here, and I think I think time didn't allow for it.
Oh my gosh, tea. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But then they did keep the moment where she kind of gives Charlotte some advice like there's more to Mr. Collins than meets the eye, like you should give him a chance. She does kind of give that to both of them in this book. But then she gets kicked out by Charlotte and Charlotte doesn't even show up at her wedding later. So it's just crazy, the whole Charlotte drama.
Whoa,
Hmm.
really? Oh my gosh. Wow, that's spicy. Okay, I actually did have a thought really quickly just about that interaction in the series when Mary says to Charlotte there's like a little more to him under the surface. After my first viewing, I thought about that scene and I was like kind of annoyed at Mary for like on Charlotte's behalf, where I was like, okay, Charlotte's married to the guy. She knows him. Like he is annoying. Like, don't tell her how her husband is acting. Like, she knows. But then on the
True.
second rewatch, I think like she did say it in like a gentle way. Um, but yeah, I remember the first time I was like, Mary, that's like that's not your place to say. I don't know.
That's a good point.
I mean, I will say I don't butt into other people's marriages with advice if I can
Okay.
acknowledge it. But I think too, I thought it was interesting in the book that Charlotte got jealous of Mary and Mr. Collins because Charlotte's like acts like she's settling for Mr. Collins
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. I'm like, so that's weird you get jealous when you're like supposedly
Yeah.
like, I wish I could have done better. He's kind of ridiculous, but I don't want to be miserable, so I've settled for this man.
Yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting thing there.
Yeah.
It felt
No.
not super congruous, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
to me.
Maybe because it doesn't feel 100% accurate to Austen's portrayal. I mean, I think some of it does, for sure, but I think
It's
we
weird
might.
for them to do so many bold changes with her, but still not have like a real complete finishing storyline about Charlotte either and Mr. Collins. I
Hmm.
just felt like that was really interesting to have so many bold takes like that, but
Yeah.
then not
But
really
then
wrap it up.
you're so right. But then I like the Mr. Collins in this because
Mhm.
he is kind to Mary. He gives her the Aristotle book, and they've kind of had like a aha moment together that happiness is in her own hands. And I love how that helps her on her next part of the journey. I mean, and it's all because she gave him the time of day. Like she saw the good in him. So I do like Mr. Collins in this story. Maybe we don't like Charlotte, but yeah.
I did like
I
Mr.
like
Collins better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Charlotte in the sense of like I'm always interested in like a different take on something, and this was it. It's also so funny, like I was thinking about this just now. It's so incredible that Pride and Prejudice is like in itself this universe that's like constantly being readapted. Like I don't know, that's just like so cool and crazy to me.
Yeah.
But just about Mr. Collins, I liked that every time he bowed, he like completely dips out of frame. Like he's just gone. So funny.
Oh my gosh. People must love writing his character for the screen because they can have fun with the excellent boiled potatoes, the awkward bows, and oh, he's just so fun. He really is.
He's
Yeah.
super fun to watch.
So, okay. Mary stands up to her mom, says, I'm not going to stay here and be your companion, even if I did, not go away with Mr. Ryder. And Lizzie helps with this. She writes to the Gardiners to make sure the Gardiners are aware of what's going on. Love Lizzie for that. Anyways, she gets to go to the Lake District, so the northwestern part of England, which was just an amazing place to visit in this time period. And that's where Wordsworth, as we know, they talk about it a lot in this miniseries, went to write poetry and his sister climbed the mountain. We'll get there. But the Lake District. And what's interesting to think about is that Lizzie almost got to go to the lakes. This was the intended trip with the Gardiners before they kind of scaled it back and ended up going to like the Pemberley region. So Lizzie almost got to go to the lakes. She didn't get to. Mary gets to go to lakes. I'm sure Lizzie would have tried to climb the mountain too. Um, but this is so cool. And along the way, they're heading there. They stop at an inn. She meets up with Anne Baxter by chance and learns that she has ended her engagement with Mr. Hayward and is engaged to a new man, Mr. Powell. Hooray. I mean, this is an easy way of fixing it. Like, I almost thought they were going to drag this storyline on more, and it was kind of like, oh, we're good. Didn't hate it. I like that it was kind of short and sweet resolution here.
Yeah, agreed.
We got the fun scenes here of Tom and Mary getting to know each other in a different setting outside of London. They're in nature, they're in their element. Of course, the Gardiners are there chaperoning. And they do some fun things like going fishing or drawing nature in the woods. One of the best scenes.
Oh my
Such a great
God.
scene.
I was dying laughing, like actually.
Oh my
It
gosh, I
was
know.
amazing.
The buildup is so great because they're like, oh, my drawing's bad, my drawing's bad. And even Mary's like, oh, I'm sure yours is great. Oh my gosh.
It's so bad.
It is like a little children's drawing with the three legs for the duck. And she's like, what is that? He's like, a duck. And in his accent, it's so great.
Like, that's too many legs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the editing was so funny, the way they just like cut to the, the
Yes.
drawing.
Sure.
So funny.
Oh, I was dying.
I like seeing them more comfortable together too, because now that Anne's out of the way, she feels like, oh, I can be more, less reserved with him. I can have more fun with him and not feel like I need to keep myself away from this person because they're taken. So it's fun to see them more at ease together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, not a bad thing for them to laugh and be a little flirty, just ever so slightly. I mean, s I think the next scene, the bird calling scenes, people's comments on this when they posted it online were like, this is a new way of flirting. Impersonating bird calls. I mean, another just hilarious moment. I love Ella, the way she just like lifts her head and like when she's whistling and it's like da, da, da. She's so funny.
So cute.
I didn't know that that scene was getting attention on social media, and I'm really glad to hear it because it was also one of my favorite scenes. And okay, I'm like one of those people, I find like impressions kind of cringy. Like I can't like take it when people do like animal impressions. But this one was really funny and it was really cute. And also like very accurate. Like he was really good at those bird calls.
Especially the pigeon. I thought he had the pigeon down.
Nailed the pigeon.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just cute seeing them like be dorky together.
Yes, they were very dorky. And this is one of the interviews where they were like, they could not get through the scene without laughing. They had so many takes. They were like, did we even get through the final cut without like it was so funny to see them talk about it.
Oh,
That's cute.
Then we have the boat scene. The now iconic boat scene. First off, it's so swoon worthy from his billowing white shirt in true Colin Firth Darcy fashion to her like soft yellow outfit I thought was really pretty and becoming on her. And they're reading the poetry and he's like, stop taking notes. Like, let me just close your eyes and let me just recite this for you. He knows it by heart. I mean, it's like one of the most romantic swoon-worthy scenes ever. And their acting is so great. Sunny, did you agree it was swoon-worthy?
Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. I think I'm into poetry now. Like, I'm not even saying this to be funny. I want to read Wordsworth because of how much his
Yeah.
poems have been featured in the show. And, they're all about nature and like the beauty of nature and like the passing of time. And that's all very up my alley. Like,
Yeah.
I have been converted by Tom Hayward.
Yes. Yeah.
agreed.
I'm with you. And
Do you guys read poetry?
No, not really. No, not often.
Carly, I feel like you do.
I've dabbled. That sounds so silly. No,
I've
no, no.
dabbled.
Dabbled. No, well, I have a book of Shakespeare's sonnets that I really like. And
Okay.
Sonnet 116 is really beautiful, and that's the one that Marianne quotes in Sense and Sensibility with Willoughby. Other than that, I do like John Keats, and I think that another period drama sparked my interest in Keats was the Bright Star movie from 2009, I believe, which, by the way, the purple linen looking dress that she wears in episode 2 at the beginning that Ella as Mary Bennet wears is the same one that Abby Cornish wears in the Bright Star movie. So that's a recycled movie costume.
Ah,
Cool.
Yes. So,
that's
anyways,
awesome.
Bright Star is one of my favorite period dramas. I think it's so beautiful. It's directed by Jane Campion. So, yeah, I love, Sunny, that this has kind of inspired you. And I'm sure it's inspired some other women around the world who are just looking at Tom like, oh, okay. You got me.
I wish it inspired me. It did not.
Okay.
Think of it. We
Fair
got later.
enough. Oh,
I was like,
oh
that's a
yeah.
lovely scene. Gone.
I'm dead.
You know, it is tough to read poems sometimes. And like I loved how Mary expressed that at the beginning. Like I don't it's not but then also it's just not to everyone's taste because it is so flowery and yeah, I don't know what
I
I'm
mean, if I
saying.
had Tom Hayward to read them to me, I wouldn't tell him no. Now, reading them alone by myself, not the same.
Exactly, exactly.
Love it. Love it. Okay. And then an interruption by Mr. Ryder, and he swims across the sea, the lake, I should say. Who does that?
So I'm Ryder, William Ryder. He's crazy.
He could it's like he's almost like I think of my dog Selena when Tristan back to the golden retriever energy. So when my husband and I are like, eating something or doing something together, like in the other room, she can't handle it being in the other room. Like she has to come find us and know what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
he had to swim across the lake, climb up in that boat if he could. Of course, he can't. He falls through, he pulls Tom Hayward, and they ask for the oar for help, and Ella, I mean, Mary just kind of tosses it out. That got me too. And then the scene where she is being carried back on her boat like the queen that she is, either
Love
man
it.
on side of her, getting her back to shore. Her look of content on her face is just perfect. Oh my gosh.
She looked like she was relishing it, and I loved that for her.
Yeah,
And like, what a treat for Jane Austen fans, because we all know the reference, right? Like, we're like, oh, we know
Totally.
what's happening right now. It was like such a fun little thing for us.
yes. And it wasn't like an annoying like scene by scene reference too. Like they did it in a new light and it was just a nice connection. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
And
we
so
poked fun
funny.
at it.
So
Yeah,
funny.
exactly.
She was looking at those forearms, I'm sure.
Those shirts were slicked to the skin, I must
Ooh.
say. Wow, good for Mary.
Good for Mary. And then Caroline sees this and is like, what the heck? I mean, Tanya Reynolds has some great comedy here too. And she's just like, okay. And they're butting in, right? Caroline, the hearse, Mr. Ryder, they're butting in on Tom and Mary's and the Gardiners, their peaceful little vacation here. And they butt in so much that they end up inviting themselves on this trek up the mountain, right? So rude. Like, ugh, they just can't help it. I mean, Mr. Ryder can't help it. And there's
The
that
sense of
scene.
entitlement with these folks is
Yeah.
astounding. Even him when he swims out to their boat, I'm like, these are two people having a moment. I would never in my wildest dreams have the audacity to swim out into a lake to interrupt people in a conversation. I was like, my good sir,
He's persistent.
I
Um,
guess.
and episode 9, we're at the penultimate episode. Mary is very confident and cool at the breakfast table, I thought, at the beginning of this episode. She's wearing this like vibrant blue and green checkered pattern dress. Probably other than our spring green and crimson dresses, this is the most vibrant we've seen her, and I really love it on her. Both men are on the side of her recommending preserves and marmalade, so she's again like experiencing this, and Caroline is just like, what the heck? And yeah, then we have the stretching in the garden scene. So,
Amazing.
so
So
funny.
funny. So awkward.
I liked it when they were like the two boys grabbed onto each other and like were like swinging and like lunging at the same time. That was so good.
So funny. And then they walk out of it like they're sore. I'm like, you guys were trying to impress her. Y'all are gonna be sore from this before you even get up the mountain with your
And
high
I was like,
kicks.
this is mountain climbing gear. You're going to climb the mountain in these clothes?
Oh,
So true though.
I know. I was
crazy.
like, really?
I mean, I know they don't have athleisure, but you'd think they could have something a little more movable.
I'm like, this is a good time for pants, ladies.
Yeah. Yeah. They could have borrowed some trousers, right? But
Hiking boots.
yes, yes. So they've prepared all they can. They do their stretches. Of course, I've watched this so many times when Tanya Reynolds as Caroline just like tries to stretch a little bit and then she just gives up with her arms like huh. I've watched that so many times. I think it's so perfect.
She's
Um
so funny.
she's so funny. They're going up the mountain. The hike begins. Again, they're still vying for her attention, bringing her honeysuckles and primroses, some more funny moments. Caroline eats the primrose. Um, and then we have this foggy, aesthetic, beautiful scenes, right, of the nature. Everything's going according to plan. Both men want to talk to her at the top of the mountain. Tom almost proposes, and it was so movie perfect, right? Like cinematically beautiful. Mr. Ryder interrupts. And this is where he says, like, Tom, I want your lawyer advice or whatever. In the book, it's a little more natural because they do it at the end. Like, it felt really out of place for him to ask for legal advice on the hike. But I think they did that because because Tom is going to change his demeanor right after this. And I think they wanted to give them that romantic, picturesque, almost proposal on the mountain because in the book, the whole hike Tom like can't even look at Mary. You see what I'm saying? So they kind of rearranged
Mm,
the scenes there.
It's much more climactic.
It is. But giving legal advice on the mountain seems a little weird, even for Tom, even for Mr. Ryder. But anywho, we don't know what's going on. Mary is just upset. She's like, why is Tom all of a sudden not going to propose? And then we have the storm. I mean, this is just, as you said, climactic, dramatic, disastrous. The storm is coming. They don't listen to the guide's advice. They're panicking. They go down. I mean, this was just such a crazy scene, a crazy moment, but it was dramatic. It brought the drama. Sunny, did you like this plot?
I did, but I was also very stressed. Like, I work outside for a living, and if there's lightning on the horizon, I'm going inside. Like, there's just why, like, being on top of a mountain during a lightning storm seems very ill-advised.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's disastrous for Caroline, who, gets her foot stuck in between some rocks. I still don't know how she managed that. It was a little like strange. And then Mary's the only one helping her, and she's like smacking her on the head. I don't know if you caught that part.
It was so
Yeah.
funny.
Was. But and then 2 hours later, they're down on the mountain, and poor Mary faints at the end of this trek. I mean, I don't blame her one bit. They're probably dehydrated too. Like, these people did not bring enough water on this hike. Um, and that felt a little Sense and Sensibility too with, did you feel that way, Callie?
Yes, I was hoping you would say that because I was going to bring that up if you didn't.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent. Well, I thought it was really weird that like William just like went down and was like, who cares what happens to them? Mr. Ryder was like, I was like, dude, you just left these women up there. You weren't even gonna look around. Like,
Oh,
come on, man. At least Tom like went back up and was like, hey, where is everybody?
yeah.
I know. I kind of was a little bit mad at Mr. Ryder about that.
Yeah.
And then he was like, like waiting like a chump back at the inn. Like, he was just like, "Oh, sorry, like I lost you guys. I couldn't come and find you." I was like,
Yeah, I'm
"Come
like,
on."
what?
Oh my gosh.
Excuses?
Yeah. Not his shining moment. Of course, Tom is great, but once he learns that Miss Mary Bennet is not on her deathbed, like she's going to make a full recovery. That's the end of episode 9 where Tom goes off on horseback. Episode 10, Mary's writing to Mr. Hayward, not getting a letter through. She wants to know what's going on. And she's also just afraid that she gave him the wrong impression that like she liked Mr. Ryder. But Mr. Ryder comes back. He apologizes. I think he is sincere in his apology, like for the whole mountaintop drama.
Mhm.
And he's like, I should have done this, before, but I'm going to ask you, would you consider accepting my hand in marriage? And Mary says, of course, my answer must be, and she pauses. And I was almost like, are you about to accept him? But she says that I do not love you. And she just really thinks like I would not make you happy. And she knows he would not make her happy. Her heart is with Tom, but she wants his friendship. And I think it was a nice bit of closure for the two of them. And then we have more closure with Mr. Sparrow, the optician son, now optometrist in the park. And we learn he has a daughter, and they muse over the fact that one day Mary might be the governess to his daughter. It's sweet and closure that we needed. And like, because she felt a sense of shame for how she treated him back in the first episode, or at the beginning of her story. And so I think it was good that she saw him happy.
I liked him too. It was nice to see him get a happy ending. He didn't do anything wrong. It was
Yeah.
just, they were just in two different, social places.
Yeah. She tells off her mother finally. And I think you alluded to that fact, Sunny, that like, or you mentioned something about that earlier. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, just that I think it was an attempt to make Mrs. Bennet's character a little more sympathetic, but it just didn't land for me personally because she's just so cruel. Like you can be misunderstood without being terrible. I think. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, but you know what's funny is I've listened to interviews with Ruth Jones, and she speaks about Mrs. Bennet so intelligently, like
Oh.
really, really emotionally aware. Like she calls her like a narcissist and like
Ooh.
um she's and I think maybe that like brings an element of like truth to her character. I don't know, the way she was talking about her,
Okay.
maybe she like knew somebody like her in real life.
Ooh.
Um, yeah.
I need to find that interview because yeah, I'm almost trying to empathize with her. Like she's saying, I didn't get any help from Mr. Bennet. And that was the one time where I was like, you're right. Like he had no care about how the five daughters would end up after he was dead. He was like ready to die and just like leave the world kind of thing. Like that's what he always like joked about. And that was the one time, but then it still just escaped me because she was just still so cruel to Mary, even in this last scene. But Mrs. Gardner, she does commend Mary for standing up to her mother. And that's another like sweet moment between them. Miss Bingley, another closure moment where she thanks her for helping her on the mountain. She comes to ask that Mary leave Mr. Ryder alone. And Mary's like, yeah, you can have him. It was always Tom for me. And she's like, really? Surely he's attainable. And they consider calling on each other, but when poetry reading is mentioned, it seems very clearly like, no, this is not going to happen. Like it's one of those, like, oh yeah, let's get coffee sometime, and it's not going to happen. But thankfully, we have Caroline Bingley writing to Tom in the background, saying like, go get Mary. She wants you. Go for it. And we have our most wonderful, sweet moment in the park by the fountain. Mr. Ryder is calling Mary's name. That part just is like, oh, so wonderful. Because she's been finding her own footing in London, but she says, I could always be happier. And then we have this scene, and it's just so beautiful. Thoughts on this scene, Callie?
I I thought it was really sweet, but I have to say, I love when she told Tom Hayward, like, so you just decided for me? What were you thinking?
Yeah.
Like, you made assumptions about what I wanted. You and Tom, or you and William just like decided that you would like, you'd bow out, like
Yeah.
what mattered to me, not even giving me a chance. And rightfully said, I think. So I'm also glad that she stood up to Tom in that way. I wish she had stood up to um Mr. Ryder too and been like,
Mm.
hey, like, both of you should have just like come to me with your different stuff and let me decide. Why
Yeah.
take Tom over to the side and like weasel his way out of it, I guess. I don't know. So that felt really satisfactory to me that she was able to say her piece on that. Um, but then it was just so sweet to see the two of them together. And like when he's like, I think you can call me Tom now, that was just precious.
Oh.
Yeah, I there were things I loved about the scene. I love that conversation, Callie, where she was like, excuse me, and like put him in his place. And I loved that they hugged. I don't know. I feel like in Regency era period dramas, you don't really see people like touching. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Mhm.
not accurate, but like I just love that they hugged and they like
Yeah.
really, really embraced each other. I thought that was so cute.
Yeah.
My only thing is, I wish it didn't happen in the park. I don't know. It
Ah,
felt very
okay.
like
Ah.
public to me and like him like yelling her name and like running to her. I was like, maybe that's just me projecting. Like I would find that really stressful for like people to like look around and be like, who is he talking to? Um,
Yeah.
and I would have loved for it to be okay. Remember in Pride and Prejudice 2005 when Mr. Darcy shows up unannounced at Mr. Collins's house and only Elizabeth's home, and he like bursts in and they
Uh-huh.
have that like very intimate exchange. I kind of wish it was more like that, where he like
Okay.
Mm.
caught her unawares and they had this like very intimate moment together instead of like in front of a crowd at a park. But
Well, this
that's just my
novel,
personal preference.
well, this novel is for you, Sonny, because it doesn't happen at a park.
Where does it happen?
At Mrs. Gardner's house.
Oh my gosh. I wrote the book, guys.
Oh my
Surprise,
gosh.
surprise.
Great minds think alike, Sunny.
That's funny. But you're kind of right about the shouting over the people. Maybe it was kind of a throwback to like she's found her footing in London now. She can walk around London as a city girl, and I don't know, maybe that's what they're going for. I'm just trying to think now.
Hmm.
But it wasn't
Yeah.
very intimate.
Yeah. No, I like that actually, like her finding her footing, being a city girl, and also like I think there is something to be said about like a public declaration of love. It's like
Mm.
it's very like affirming. So maybe
Hmm.
they wanted to give Mary's character that kind of like he loves you moment in front of
Yeah. In
people.
front of people, like it's not, he's not hiding anything. Like you're worth being, yeah, I get where you're going
Yeah.
with that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's as you said, Callie, I mean, in the book too, she talks about how like he may come back to me at one point, but I'm going to tell him how I feel. Like I'm angry with the way things turned out. This was not cool. And she had been she's experienced so many different emotions throughout her journey here, but anger, we haven't really seen her be angry. And I like that we get to see that because that's just like completes the picture for Mary too. Like people get angry. You can get married at the person you love, and sometimes you just have to tell them how you feel, and it's great. It's great. Um, and then the shot of them coming home to the Gardiners and the children encircling them with streamers, and oh, it's so cute.
So sweet.
So sweet. And they're both wearing like blue and green because she takes off the Spencer that's like more like a bright pink magenta. So it's like they just feel like I love it when characters wear the same colors when they're like they've said that they love each other. It just makes it feel like so complete.
Now they're together.
Yes. Mrs. Hill reads her letter back at home. And the first time I saw this, I was like, what is she eating? And in the book, it's because she sends her a piece of the wedding cake.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
So that must have been like a little nod to the book there. And Mrs. Hill was always on her side, like always trying to encourage her, saying just she needed to find her place in the world. So it's cute that they're keeping up their correspondence. And then we have the wallpaper scene, the final scene. I like that they gave him this like domestic kind of their partners and they have their first home together moment. The wallpaper has been chosen, and he says something about indigo, and she's like, no, it's actually Tyrian purple. So cute. So cute.
She's so real for that, and I loved that scene. Like it must have been like one of the last couple of episodes when she's with Mrs. Gardner and Mrs. Gardner's trying to console her and she's like, "Well, honestly, I just really wanted to choose my own wallpaper." And like she got and like that's so real, right? 'Cause like yes,
Yeah.
you want to be married and love, have your own home, but like also girl just wants to choose her own wallpaper. I love wallpaper, so I really felt that like in my bones.
I love, Sunny, how you've been relating to Mary through the wallpaper and the paint colorful choices today.
It's
It's
just
so true.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I love the theme of, though, of having choices throughout the
Yeah.
whole story. I mean, wallpaper, matches, dresses, it just uh everybody wants to have choice in their life. And I think Mary at the beginning didn't feel like she had any choices. Like everything was kind of set for her. So to see her have that in different ways and get that freedom was just so satisfying. So the wallpaper felt very like very sweet and good, a good last scene for me.
We are not finished with the Other Bennet sister. It was announced last month that a three-part Christmas special will come out later this year. I think they're already filming it. I think I saw either pre-production or filming. And we're going to get a return of our beloved characters of Mary and Tom. I'm sure Mrs. Gardner. I hope some of the other ones, some of the the funny ones and obscure ones. We'll see. We don't know too much about it just yet, but how exciting. Are you guys looking forward to that one?
So much so, yeah. Where are they going to take it next? What storyline are they going to play with?
Yeah. In the book, they kind of do like kind of like a not a reading competition, but they loan each other books to read to like see how they liked them and what they thought about them. And I'm wondering if that could
Oh,
be something they put in it. I don't know.
I'd love that. That'd be really fun.
What do you think? Any predictions?
I want to find out what happens with Caroline going to find Mr. Ryder. Like, how does that go? Do you guys figure it out? What happens there?
Ooh, yes.
And do they actually become friends? Because I would love to see a redemption arc for Caroline Bingley. If they already went so far as to have her write to Tom, like, could there be something, a friendship there if she's able to grow and change? Because that'd
Ooh,
be a fun, like, double
yeah.
couples situation, I feel like.
No, that would be hilarious. I mean, I just want Tanya Reynolds back on the
Yeah.
show, like 100%.
I would love to see more of Mr. and Mrs. Gardner. I know we didn't talk too much about Richard Coyle, who plays Mr. Gardner, but I thought they had great chemistry. Um, and they were really sweet together. So I would love to see more scenes of them together.
Yeah. Yeah, they were such a cute couple, like couple goals, like having a house, an apartment or house in London, and just like being partners. In the book, it mentions that they're very much like partners in the business, even too. So, yeah.
Mm.
And they were like a marriage that was happy. Her parents' marriage didn't really seem like a very loving marriage or a very companionable one. And the Gardeners really exemplified that for her. So that was really fun to
Yeah.
see.
Exactly, Kelly. I do want to just maybe say with the quote that I took down from the book, it says that they did not consider happiness a matter of chance or destiny. Instead, they did everything in their power to cultivate it.
Mhm.
And I think they did say, I think Mary in the miniseries says the gardeners cultivate happiness. They don't leave it to chance. So it was like, yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
Love that very much.
I loved that, yeah. Also, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but I thought Richard Coyle's really cute.
I did too.
Uh-huh.
I thought he was really handsome.
It's a nice smile.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's why with the upcoming Pride and Prejudice with Rufus Sewell being Mr. Bennet, I don't know what's gonna happen, guys. Like, I'm not even gonna want Mr. Darcy. I'm gonna want Mr.
I'm dead.
Ah,
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Oh my
I
goodness.
feel like I'm just gonna see what's his face from A Knight's Tale?
Yes.
Yes,
I
yeah.
can't think of the character. Yeah, yeah.
Count Adamar.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I'm just gonna be like, no, that's Count Adamar.
Oh my gosh. It's gonna be weird seeing him in that role, but also maybe a little swoon worthy. And there you have it, folks. We have covered The Other Bennet Sister, the mini series from 2026 in its entirety. Thank you to my co-hosts here, Sunny and Callie, who brought their insights and personal connections to the conversation. This was amazing. Thank you both so much.
Thank you. It
Thanks,
was such a
Carly.
pleasure.
We are at the start of season 7 of Swoon Worthy. So many more episodes on the way, including more Jane Austen adaptations, fairy tale favorites, and special guest stars from the costume departments of period dramas. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you next time.